founder of the Empower Series, and I'm here with two good friends of mine, Russell Haynes and Reginald Taylor. How are you guys doing?
We're doing wonderful. Well.
Good. Now, Russell has been a longtime supporter of the Empower Series. I think you were coming to UTD when we started the Empower Series in 2011. And so Russell's an adjunct professor at the Dallas County Community College District. But when you were coming in 2011, you were actually a dean.
Yes. I was the Dean of Retention Management and the Title III Administrator at Cedar Valley College at that time.
Yeah, and you were very committed to bringing students from El Centro to UTD, and even now you are encouraging your students to come and you give them extra credit by attending the Empower Series, right?
That is correct, and I've always encouraged our students to participate. And I'm really one of the supporters of this program because I see the work that you've done over the years. And I have taken a number of students to the Empower Series, and I constantly get the feedback that this was a life-changing moment for the students. And I even encourage my own children to attend. And one of the things that I would say that really impressed me was my son said he didn't get it, that his life was impacted by his early childhood until he went to the Empower Series and he heard one of the speakers talk.
Wow.
And that was a life-changing moment for him to understand how his early childhood impacted his spending habits.
Now, was that an event with Calvin Golden, or was it a different one? Do you remember which one it was? Because I know
that was not with Calvin. There was another. Calvin was another impactful one that he attended, but I actually encourage him to go on a regular basis.
And I actually told Calvin about that story though, and he was very impressed. He was touched by that.
Yes,
he was touched by that.
But the financial piece, you had a speaker doing I can't remember what her name was, but she was actually doing the impact of early childhood events and how it connects to your spending.
Oh, okay, yeah, man. So thank you for being a supporter. And I think, Reginald, you attended the first one in October of 2014, right?
Yes, sir.
And that was Dr. Dennis Kimbrough.
Dr. Awesome Dennis Kimbrough.
Right. And we talked about Dennis is going to be back here in December 7th at the Collin County Black Chamber of Commerce. So we'll talk about you getting in there and seeing them.
Cool beans.
So I'm thinking.
That'd be a great birthday and Christmas present. My birthday is actually this Saturday.
always trying, right? So I think, Reginald, we met in 2018, though, because I know that you were part of the group that attended the Empower Series in 2014. But I think we actually had a conversation at one of our Cocktails and Connection networking events. Mm-hmm. And that's where you had graduated from Delta State University.
Yes, sir. And
you shared with me a little bit about your story. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk more about that. But this is something to where you were bringing a number of students to our workshop starting in 2011. And was this your first one was Reginald part of the group before 2014 or?
No, sir.
It's two different institutions. First I was at Cedar Valley College, and I spearheaded the Male Initiative at Cedar Valley College. And one of the things I did with the Male Initiative is we would take the students out on a weekend as a trip where they're doing something off campus.
Okay.
And that was an exciting time for them, and then getting an opportunity to get some good educational information. That was really awesome for them.
Okay. Well, the story you told me, I want to give you an opportunity to share that story because it's something to where we don't realize the impact that we're doing and that we're making a lot of times when we're, helping other people or just sharing our story. I know that you're very involved in being a mentor and being a mentor for all of the young men that you touch, right? And Reginald was one of those men. And tell me about that time that you visited the Empower Series and what was your experience, your first time experience?
Holy moly. It was awesome, man. It blew my socks off. Even now, I'm just reliving that time period is tough, I don't share my story with too many people, or even this section of the story. But during that time, I had just lost my mother. I actually started at El Centro College. I was a part of the Brother to Brother Male Initiative that Russell was the advisor of at the time. And I lost my mother July of 2014. So I was forced to withdraw from school, at the time to handle her final affairs. But because of my experiences in life and because we're here, I'll just be transparent as I have with you previously. I have a criminal background. And I had been home at the time for maybe 2 years. I started at El Centro 2013. And after withdrawing from school, although I wasn't where I wanted to be at the time mentally or in my career or profession, I knew that it was necessary for me to remain a productive citizen and alter the dynamics in my community for me to stay in school. So I had a conversation with my then marketing professor, Mr. Wade Hyde, that I lost my mother and may have to leave because my lease was up with a girlfriend. Our apartment lease was up and I didn't have anywhere to stay. And at the time I knew I couldn't stop going to school because if I did, I may resort to old behaviors and thought processes. And that marketing professor, Mr. Hyde, spoke with Russell because I suggested to Mr. Hyde, hey, you know, I've been to class. I haven't missed class at all. I turn in my work. I'm a good student. I need this. I need to finish school. Can I complete my assignments and turn them in if I have to move out of town just so I can have somewhere to stay because currently I'm sleeping in my car and coming to school every day, and he was blown out of the water. What blew him out the water so much was we had that conversation a few weeks to a month prior to me becoming homeless. And everyone was saying there's a lot of homeless in downtown Dallas, and everyone was coming for the money. And me and my objective thinking, I was saying, what if they became homeless while students and school is all they had? Mm-hmm. Not knowing that it would become all I had. So, thankfully for Mr. Hyde and the spirits that be, he had a conversation with Russell. And I'm sure Russell run into a lot of hard heads. So he did his research before calling me into the office. You know, what type of student is this that I'm going to be helping or that this teacher is speaking to me about? So, although I have a criminal background, I've always been intellectually inclined in advanced classes. But my childhood or the lack thereof, a father figure, tainted my view of what a man or a father was. So I got off course. But when Russell called me into the office after he did his research, he saw that I was a good student. I believe at the time what I have a 3.7, something around there. And I just told him what was going on in my life. And he told me, well, get back with me next week. I'm going to see what I can do. But what you should do, there's this organization, Brother to Brother. Continue doing what you're doing. Continue going to class. And I'm like, wow. Okay, he's just going to be like any other person I've spoken to. But he wasn't. Russell began investing time, energy, and resources into me to help me get to where I want to go, because he saw that I was putting forth all the effort I could to get to my goal at the time, which was attaining my associates and starting a business. Mm-hmm. So I delved deeper into school despite sleeping in my car. I joined Brother to Brother, talking to Russell eventually. He encouraged me to join Phi Theta Kappa. He got a lot of pushback about that, but I didn't then understand the benefit of Phi Theta Kappa. So before I get to Phi Theta Kappa in that induction, I'll talk about attending the Empower series. Russell believed in me so much so that he started using me to recruit for Brother to Brother as a way to keep my head focused on school or have a positive impact on others that may not have had my experience. So I began serving as the acting president because most students do not put forth all their effort or energy into student organizations for whatever reason until they see the benefit. But because I've already learned the benefit of school, I was able to recruit more African Americans or Hispanics, Latinas, or whatever the race was to join because I never met a stranger. I can strike up a conversation with a person that may appear to be homeless and treat them just as if they was a CEO of a company. So this was awesome. More people began joining the organization, and Russell mentioned the Empower series for the weekend, and I had no idea what the Empower series is, and I can't even say I researched it to see. Russell was absent. He had to attend another venue, but another mentor of mine went along with us in Russell's place, Mr. William Smith. And just hearing Dr. Dennis Kimbrough speak, sharing his story, his wisdom, and his experiences in life prior to writing Wealth Choice. So the funny thing is about him mentioning Wealth Choice and what led up to Wealth Choice, before the seminar, when I met Russell, he gave me his book that was autographed by Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. And unfortunately, me being who I am, trying to empower someone else and share the book with them, I didn't get it back.
Okay.
But Russell shared that book with me, and I began reading the book. And to hear Dr. Dennis Kimbrough share that he was homeless during his transition or during the book itself, it really resonated and it touched me and empowered me to continue despite what I was going through at that time, because Russell know this. I don't believe I shared this with you. Losing my mother was hard because I had to battle with the fact that she passed away thinking I didn't love her.
Oh, man.
So knowing that Dr. Dennis Kimbrough overcame what he went through in writing his book, and that other celebrities has also experienced the same hardship that I had. As being homeless empowered me to continue pressing forward despite what I may endure. So Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, the Empower series itself, you yourself, Clifford, unknowingly motivated me to pursue a bachelor's. So after hearing the seminar, Russell continued pouring into me. And I believe you me, it was pretty draining because I'm not the man you see before you. Even my thought processes wasn't the same then. He really poured a lot into me for me to get to where I am now, and I'm grateful for it. Most grateful. Him believing in me helped me believe in myself even more. Just having different conversations. I had a lot of hardships just within the next few months. Even after hearing that, I'm not sure. Should I share December?
How you going to say no to that, man? Hey, man, so first off, my deepest condolences for you losing your mother. I know that's tough. There's nothing that can be said. Make me start getting welling up, man, because I lost my mom when I was in college, right? I was 21. So I know that's tough. So my deepest condolences for you there. And I'm really glad that you poured into all of the young men that you touched and that you were inspired by Dr. Kimbrough's story. I think what you were telling me before when Tyler Perry posted his the fact that he opened up the studio, and you were saying that you heard at that time that Tyler Perry was homeless in New Orleans in the very beginning, and while Dr. Kimmerer was writing his book Think and Grow Rich, his electricity was cut off. He almost lost his home a couple of times, right? So we all have these struggles that we go through, but you kept hope, you had faith, you had a vision, and things didn't just get easier. Obviously, something happened in December that you don't. But
just don't have the time.
I got you, dude. I got you. But again, you stuck with it, man. And like you said, you continue to have people like Russell pour into you. You stayed involved with Brother to Brother, right, which was a resource that was critically important to help young men of color, stay in school. And you actually got a scholarship to Delta State University, right?
Yes, sir. Which was a result of Russell beating me across the head to join Phi Theta Kappa. So for those of you who may view this that is unfamiliar with Phi Theta Kappa is a national honor society in which you're required to have at a community college level at least a 3.5 GPA to even receive an introduction email. And Russell beat me across the head after I received that email. And I'm like, no, I don't want to join the fraternity. I'm a leader, not a follower. And,
I can see you saying that too.
Then after I began researching, I saw the benefit that I wouldn't have to follow anybody and I can still pave my own way. So I joined, and I went to Delta State because they offered a full tuition scholarship. They was nowhere on my map, and I found them to apply because I Googled costs, no affordable universities.
Yeah. And you graduated in December 2017, right?
Yes, sir, December 2017.
Okay, and then you with a BA, business degree.
Yes, sir.
And then you came back to Dallas, and then you came back to Dallas. That's when we met in March of 2018.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, man, and so your story, and I've talked to you about this, but your story is what I've been putting out there, because I think it's a good representation of what the Empower series is intending to do in our communities, which is to give people hope that whatever you envision, you can achieve. And you were also saying that through our conversations that you've always wanted to be an attorney, right?
Childhood dream.
Yeah, and so you're pursuing that now by studying for your LSAT to go to law school, and you're now a business consultant in the meantime, and to earn some money, right? Until you pass your LSAT, and then you're looking at different colleges to go to. You haven't quite decided yet what law school, but on the top three that you're considering, I know you talked to me about Harvard. Not Harvard, but Howard. Howard is one of them. What are the other two?
Harvard and BYU.
Okay.
Specifically BYU Hawaii, of my research is, as I recall. I just think it'll be awesome to go to school in Hawaii.
Dude, look, let me tell you something. I had a scholarship at the University of Hawaii, but my father kind of shut that down. We won't go through that story. I have some scars on that, but you also have another mentor, right? Another mentor, an assistant DA that is pouring into you as well, right? And so again, man, so you are really an example of what the Empower series is capable of doing, providing hope, inspiration for you to act on your ideas, and connecting to resources and education. And so those are the four things that we hope to do. And even when people who are watching this podcast, I hope that they're going to get hope from hearing your story, that they're inspired to keep taking actions and keep the faith, that they're educated, and that they're connecting to resources around them, whether it's mentors like you, mentors like your assistant DA, as well as other organizations that can assist you along the way. So you still come to the Empower series though, right?
I still come.
All right, cool.
And the reason why I still come is because oftentimes life happens. Like now life happened. But being connected to these type of resources and people such as yourself, Russell, who sparked the fire again for me to pursue my childhood dream during a brief conversation we had in his office, is to be re-energized. That's what the Empower series does for me. And not only does it re-energize me, you all have reached a certain level of success and are pursuing other avenues or other successes. So being that you all believe in me and entrust in me and attach your name to me, it also helps to hold me accountable so that I can continue doing the right thing when no one is looking. And it helps me hold myself accountable.
Well, man, I'll tell you what, Russell can attest to this. The road to success is always under construction.
And yes, I am a fervent believer in always under construction.
And then there was another speaker I have here. She started this counseling service called Lifeology. And she said, she agreed with me that success is not a straight line. Mm-hmm. It goes up and down. Mm-hmm. And so just like you had that first, whenever you have a dream that you want to accomplish something, another speaker says that it's inevitable that the universe is going to set something in your path to determine, okay, how serious do you want it? And so no matter where you are, there's no level of greatness that can't be exceeded. And people who you perceive as being successful have overcome some kind of challenge or they're going through a challenge. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you're on the right path, man. And so I just commend you for continuing to keep the faith, keep forth the effort, and continue to surround yourself with people who can stretch you and make you cry sometimes.
Yes, we're good at that.
Right. So what would you say, man? What has been the experience for you? What have you learned from being a mentor with the many different young men that you mentor, as well as Reginald?
Well, the first thing I would say to potential mentors out there who are wanting to make a difference in these young men's lives, my niece told me this a couple of years ago, and she said, they don't care what you know until they know that you care.
Yeah.
And only when they know that you care will they start actually paying attention to what you're saying. And that's the first thing that we have to do as the older generation. Make sure that they understand that you genuinely care. You can't fake it. You just have to genuinely care about what are you going to do to pour into the next generation.
Yeah.
And these young men, the one thing I've seen over the years that I've been doing this is they are all just like each of us. We need love. And they need to have people in their lives that they know will love them, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. They need love. And I have been impacted as a young man of 17, 18. And my coach had that impact on me. He served as my mentor. And he was the first person to actually ask me what were my goals. And nobody had ever asked me that in life. And what he was able to do with me as a teenager was demonstrate that we can set a goal a year ahead. And when he asked me what my goal is, it took a while to give him an answer. And I said, I wanted to make the national junior track and field team. And he said, give me the strength and I'll put you on the plane. A year later, I did not remember that conversation until I picked my bag up to put it in the overhead compartment. Tears came down my eye, and nobody knew what was going on because I hid it, a manly man, you gotta hide it. And it was one of the most impactful things in my life. And he always encouraged me. He said, you gotta pass it on. You got to pass it on. So this is why I have a passion for what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And as I said, they don't care what you know until they know that you care.
Yeah, that's some real talk, man.
And I learned that from my coach. And if I knew anything, I knew that man cared about me. And I would not have earned the track scholarship without him pouring into me.
Yeah, I think if you look at anyone who is who've experienced any level of success, they've had somebody like your track coach. For me, it was my father who worked really 2 jobs to put us through school.
Right.
And when I was growing up, I didn't really appreciate that. I was the one that was really arguing with him the most. But then, my brother, I know you were there when I shared you the story about my brother.
Right.
And so he has a story. And so, yeah, even with you come to the Empower series and I would say you're an ambassador of the Empower series because you were telling somebody on the bus today.
Always.
Right, always.
Right.
So you're paying it forward as well as Russell poured into you and Chris is pouring into you and other people are pouring into you. You're actually pouring into other people because your story is an inspiring story. And people who've gone through your path are going to look at you and see what's possible and they're going to believe. And so it's about us giving both ways. As we're climbing, we're reaching down and we're lifting up, right? Yeah. So the other thing I want to talk about is, and I think I've talked to you guys about this, there's a campaign going on called My Giving Story. Have you heard about that campaign, My Giving Story?
You mentioned it to me.
Okay. So My Giving Story, every Tuesday or the first Tuesday after Thanksgiving is a day where people give to nonprofit organizations. And so we have Black Friday after Thanksgiving, we got Cyber Monday, and then Giving Tuesday. So every year there's this campaign where people are sharing their story as to why they give. Why do you give to young men? Why do you give to the organizations you give to? And my story for giving is around my brother. So I'm going to post that out there. I'm not going to go into the story now. But I tell you that because I think everybody needs to know about it. Everybody's giving at one level or another. And it's an opportunity for you to share your story as to why you give. And you also have an opportunity of identifying a nonprofit organization that you want to support. And the top 20 stories that get the most likes or votes are going to go into this drawing to when I think there's 3 places. The top place is $10,000 and then there's some other levels. But the nonprofit that you choose is going to be able to get a grant if your particular story gets the most likes. And this is not about the grant because it's really about sharing stories and creating a movement and awareness of just what you said. We are all in this together. It's nothing of significance can ever be accomplished alone. And so this is about how, why do you give and have that story be an inspiring story to touch other people's lives as well as to bring awareness to your nonprofit organization. So I would encourage you guys to share your story. You got a very compelling story that shouldn't be kept alone. So I appreciate you sharing that here, being open and showing your vulnerability and stuff because that story is really going to resonate with someone as well as you, Russell, for what you do and why you do it. So I just want to thank you guys for coming on, spending your time. I know you got to get back. Got to get back to the job because you're instructing teachers. Your school, your class is is in an hour from now, right?
Pretty much.
All right, so I definitely want to thank you. Our next Empower series is going to be in 2020, so hold the dates. Let people know about it, but we're going to post this out there, and we got podcasts coming up, and I just want to thank you guys for being, long-term supporters of the Empower series. This is something that is an idea that I have, a dream that I have, and you guys are a part of it because the Empower series wouldn't be the Empower series if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you for
man.
challenging us, Cliff, with the Empower series.
Hey, I'll tell you, the Empower series is for me just as well as it is for you, right? Because I go every month, every day. So I want to thank you guys for spending your 30 minutes with us. Be empowered and inspire people to thrive. So thank you.